YouTube, we're back. Sadly, my recording software crashed on me, so I just lost about 10 to 15 minutes of footage, but that's alright. We're back today, and as you can see, I've created a Fluffal deck. I kind of splurged and spent a lot of gems and completed this deck. Now, I already had, the staples, whatever, and I pulled most of these from packs. The only cards that I needed to generate were these Foolish Burial Goods, one of these, and then I believe one of these and one of these. This deck is busted. I love it so much. It has brought me to gold. I'm in gold 4. I'll go ahead and show you the replay of the match that I just did that I believed was recording, but turns out that we were not recording. Alright, so to start this match out, I ended up winning the coin toss and I decided to go second. I didn't draw any hand traps, but I have Forbidden Droplet in hand. My opponent seems to not have had a good hand since he only summoned one monster. I activate Toy Vendor, to which he responds with Magician's Robe, to which I respond with Forbidden Droplet, sending my Toy Vendor to negate his monster's effects. Now the effect of Toy Vendor in Graveyard will trigger, adding me Fluffal Dog from deck to hand. I will activate the effect of Fluffal Dolphin to set my Toy Vendor and send Fluffal Wings to the graveyard. Now I will use Toy Vendor's first effect to discard Fluffal Wings to draw a card and then discard it since it was not a Fluffal monster. Now I use the effect of Fluffal Wings to banish 2 Fluffals, destroy my Toy Vendor, and draw 2 cards. And now the effect of Toy Vendor once more to add Fluffal Penguin. Now Polymerization, I use Penguin and I use Edge Imp Sabers, and I summon Frightful Kraken. The effect of Fluffal Penguin allows me to draw 2 to discard 1. Chain's effect Engrave allows me to add Fright for Patchwork. Fright for Patchwork's effect allows me to add Polymerization plus a Fright for card, or Edge Imp card. I summon Fright for Sabertooth. His effect allows me to summon Kraken from graveyard. And then I use the effect of Sabers to summon itself from graveyard, and then I Polymerization into Fright for Tiger. Now the effect of Tiger goes off and allows me to destroy 2 cards on the field. And then from here I attack for game since Kraken can attack twice. Even without that, it would still be game. I'll go ahead and show you this replay as well. So to start this one off, I'm going second, but I have no hand traps in my hand, which is a very sad sight to see. He uses the effect of Galaxy Soldier to summon itself, and then uses the effect of Cyber Dragon Hairs to add Cyber Dragon from deck to hand. My opponent uses the second effect of Galaxy Soldier to add another copy of itself to hand, and then uses the first effect once more to summon itself. With that, he XZs into Cyber Dragon Nova. And then he uses the effect to summon the Cyber Dragon, and then he overlays into Cyber Dragon Infinity. He adds a light monster from deck to hand, and then he ends his turn. So he has 1 negate on field, and I'm not sure what's in his hand, except for 1 card. So I use Fluffal Bear to discard to set a Toy Vendor, activate Toy Vendor, which is met with a negate and destruction, which was a misplay on his part. Because now I get the effect of Toy Vendor in the graveyard to add Fluffal Penguin. From here I normal summon Fluffal Penguin, effect to summon Dog, Dog effect to add Fright for Patchwork to add Poly, as well as Edge Imp Chain. Use Polymerization, using Penguin and Chain. Summon Fright for Kraken. Effective Penguin Engrave, effective Chain Engrave, add a Fright for card, and then draw 2 and then discard 1. Fusion Recovery to get my Polymerization and my Penguin back. Kraken's effect to pop his monster. Polymerization once more. Using Cat and Kraken to summon Frightfur Sabertooth Tiger. Or just Frightfur Sabertooth. The effect of Cat to add polymerization from graveyard to hand. And then Frightfur Sabertooth to summon the Kraken back to the field. I activate polymerization once more. This time summoning a second Frightfur Sabertooth. And his effect will also go off to summon... Well, it would have gone off, but I forgot. My opponent surrendered here because he was dead. Alright, we're coming back for one more duel. We're going against G. Gamaki. And we get to choose, and we're going second. Hopefully, let's draw a Max C. Fingers crossed. We have 2 Ash and a Forbidden Droplet. And he's playing Zombie World. Yeah, we have to ask Unizombie. Unizombie can just set up so many plays. That's a good card. And once again, sometimes you win and sometimes your opponent just loses. Alright, I think I'm going to call it for dueling today, but I guess I'll run through my deck real quick. First of all, we have our staples, 3 Max C. I think any deck in this format, in this game, should be running 3 Max C, 3 Ash Blossom, and then 2 Call by the Grave. If you don't have those, then you're not trying to be competitive. But if you're wanting a competitive deck, you have to bare minimum have these 2 cards, these 3 cards, and these 3 cards. You need them. And then these 3 cards are among the best cards in the game. Anyways, how the deck works is you use polymerization to summon your Frightfur monsters, and a lot of your monsters have really cool effects when they are used to summon a Frightfur monster. You use your toy vendor. When it hits the graveyard, it can add any Fluffal monster or Edge Imp Sabers from deck to hand. When Fluffal Penguin is summoned, you can summon a Fluffal monster from your hand. And when Fluffal Penguin is used to fusion summon a Frightfur monster, you get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. That effect is very strong. Fluffal Bear, you can discard it to set a toy vendor from deck. So Fluffal Bear searches your toy vendor. Fluffal Wings is an interesting case. When this card is in the graveyard, along with 1 other Fluffal monster, and you have toy vendor on the field, you can banish this card and the other Fluffal monster from your grave to draw 2 cards and then destroy your toy vendor. So you get to draw 2 and then you get to search from toy vendor. And then we have some extenders, I guess you would call them, in the form of Fluffal Cat, who when you use him to fusion summon, or her, who knows, you can target 1 polymerization in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And then we also have 2 Fusion Recovery, which is among the same thing, but it targets a polymerization and 1 monster that was used to fusion summon, and it adds them both to your hand. Frightfur Patrick is one of the best cards in the deck. This card will add you any Edge Imp monster and any polymerization from deck to hand. Very, very good. You almost always want to search this when Chain hits the graveyard. You also have 3 Foolish Burial Goods. You activate this and you send toy vendor, you get a search. So this equals any Fluffal or Edge Imp Sabers. Very good. So yeah, 1 cat, 2 wings, 3 Max C, 1 owl. When owl is summoned, you can add a polymerization from deck to hand, or you can pay 500 life points and fusion summon a Frightfur monster without polymerization. 2 Edge Imp Sabers. His only effect is that when he's in the graveyard, you can place 1 card from your hand on top of the deck, and then you can special summon this card in defense position. Fluffal Bear, you have 2 of those. like I said earlier, you can discard this card and then set Toy Vendor from deck, but also if it's on the field, you can tribute it and then target a polymerization in your graveyard and add it to your hand. 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Edge Imp Scythe. During your opponent's main phase, you can reveal this card on your hand, and then you can summon a Fright Fur monster from your extra deck using monsters in your hand or on your field as fusion material. And then, if a Fright Fur monster would be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can banish this from your graveyard to stop it. You have 3 Fluffal Dog. When he's summoned, normal or special, you can add any Edge Imp Sabers or 1 Fluffal monster from deck to hand. 3 Edge Imp Chain. Like I said earlier, when this card hits the grave, you can search any Fright Fur card from your deck to hand. Also, when this card declares an attack, you can add an Edge Imp Chain from deck to hand. You almost never use that first effect, though. 3 Fluffal Penguin. When he's summoned, you can summon a Fluffal monster from your hand, and when he's used as fusion material, you can draw 2 and discard 1. 1 Fluffal Dolphin. This card's only good for setting up the Fluffal Wings Toy Vendor play, just because you can target a Toy Vendor in your graveyard and set it, and then you can send a Fluffal monster or Edge Imp Sabers from deck to graveyard. But also, if this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material for a Fright Fur card, you can then target a fusion spell or polymerization and add it to your hand. 1 Raigeki, it's a great card. 3 polymerization, of course. 1 Monster Reborn, also a good card. 2 fusion recovery to extend your plays. 1 Fright Fur fusion as well. This card, you banish monsters from your field or graveyard to summon a Fright Fur monster. 3 Foolish Burial Goods. When you use this, you almost always want to send Toy Vendor. There's no reason to send anything else. Unless you're trying to set up some weird play where you're adding this back to hand by using Edge Imp Scythe. Or sorry, not Edge. The only reason you'd want to send anything else is if you're trying to set up a play where you use Fluffal Dolphin's effect to add the card back to hand. You have 3 Fright Fur Patchwork. This is the best card in the game. This is the best card in the deck. 3 Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor is very good. Its first effect isn't that great. You can discard a card, draw a card, and then show it. And if it's a Fluffal, you can summon it. Otherwise, you discard it. You don't use that too often, but you do use it when you can, just to usually try to bait your opponent into negating, because usually they will negate it and then destroy it, and then you get a search. 2 Call by the Grave, and then 3 Forbidden Droplet. As far as the extra deck goes, we have 3 Fright Fur Sheep. If this card is destroyed by battle or destroyed by card effect, you can special summon it as soon as it's destroyed, and it gains 800 attack. Also, when this card attacks, your opponent can't activate cards or effects during the battle step. Fright Fur Wolf. This card can attack the number of times equal to the number of monsters you use to fusion summon. Fright Fur Tiger. This monster can destroy number of cards on the field up to the number of monsters used to fusion summon it. These, you want 3 Fright Fur Sabertooth Tiger, because when this card is summoned, you can target 1 Fright Fur monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Also forgot to mention, Fright Fur Sheep isn't that great. I only run 3 just because I don't really have anything else to put in there. You would ideally want 1 or 2 sheep, and then 1 wolf, and then 1 or 2 tigers. You have 3 Fright Fur Kraken. This is also a must. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. It is targeting, but it's non-destructive. But it can't attack directly that turn. Also, it can attack twice, and when it attacks, it goes to defense position. Fright Fur Daredevil. Almost never use this card. It's not very good. I would run 3 of these if you had them. Wait, I do. There we go. There you go. That's much better. You want 3 of these instead. You don't need Devil. Devil sucks. Anyways, you have 3 of these. This is okay. When it's fusion summoned, you can destroy 1 card on both players' field. So you can use that effect and then use Scythe to protect it from being destroyed. So it essentially just pops your opponent's monster, because you can fusion summon it using Scythe during your opponent's turn, summon him, pop a monster, use Scythe's effect to protect him. Also, quick effect, you can target a fusion monster you control and send 1 Fright Fur card from your deck to the graveyard or extra deck to graveyard, and this card gains attack equal to half the original attack until the end of the turn. Well, it doesn't even, you don't have to target this card, you can target another card and it gains the attack. Anyways, you run these also because you can then summon this, the True King of All Calamities, which is a very broken card. Well, that's the deck for now. It's doing me pretty good. It brought me to gold tier. We're going to see if we can get it up to platinum. And that's about all for this video. If you liked the video, give it a like, and be sure to subscribe and tune in for the next video. Thanks for watching.